My name is Sonya Barge. I have three girls, Lauren, Nicole, and Jennifer Mahan. Marky was our fourth child. He was a very, very vibrant, very excitable child. Always into everything and just loved basketball. When Marky was born, we had found a sitter, we had interviewed her, we actually interviewed several. And we were so impressed with the sitter. She was also one of our sister churches, a member of the sister church. The house was just impeccable. I mean, whenever I walked in the house, you know, there's never a dirty dish in the sink. Everything was wonderful. The kids were always well taken care of. I mean, her kids were well behaved. There was nothing to even begin to think that something that ominous or that dangerous would have even been in the house. Remember the day that Marky died. Traffic was bad. There was a horrible rainstorm. I was about 45 minutes late picking Marky up from daycare. When I arrived at the sitter's house, there's nothing but police cars sitting in the front, and I remember thinking, I need to move my car. I can't illegally park in front and go get Marky. Walked around the back, and as we were walking around, I noticed that all the police were coming from the sitter's house. And at that point, I realized that something had happened. The sitter had an evening job, and she had left to go to her job. And since I was late to traffic, her 11-year-old son was there watching my 5-year-old Jennifer and Marky, who at the time was 3. While they were home alone for a few minutes, the little boy happened to find a gun in the closet and was playing around with the gun. Marky came in and startled him, and he was shot in the chest and died.
The unidentified juvenile accidentally shot 3-year-old Marky Mahan with a shotgun that the older boy found in his parents' Manchester apartment.
The thought to ask about a gun, no, never even crossed my mind. You think to ask about, you know, what are the emergency procedures? You think to ask of, you know, what will you do, you know, if the child becomes ill? You think to ask, you know, what will the children do? But never did it ever dawn on me to ask about a gun. I don't think people really recognize until it happens to someone you know or happens to you. I did the same thing. I remember watching the TV and watching a mother on the news crying, and I remember thinking to myself, how can she live? How can she go on? How is she making it through the day? Little did I know that 6 months later, I would be in that exact same situation. The shooting has changed just about each member of our family, from Jennifer, our 5-year-old, who actually witnessed the shooting. You do see some remnants of some of the issues that she deals with. Everyone still feels and sees the scars because it's something that comes up from day to day. Think how uncomfortable you will be when you're sitting there at the cemetery on your child's birthday releasing balloons. Think about how uncomfortable you are when you have the media with microphones in your face asking you questions, and think how comfortable you will be when you're sitting in that at the funeral looking at your child in that casket. There's no feeling I can ever say that's ever more uncomfortable than having to do that. Just ask. Don't feel like you need to, that you're infringing on someone. These are our children, and you know, owning a gun is a right, but with the right comes responsibility. A responsibility of not only the owners to make sure that the guns are well protected, but a responsibility of parents to make sure that our children are in a safe environment, whether it's in a daycare setting or whether it's in a play setting or just any setting, just to ask.